Welcome back. So the advent of online communication has brought about many advantages such as networking, information sharing, as well as entertainment. But with that also comes some disadvantages. So for instance, certain digital platforms and social media are notorious for cyberbullying, hate speech, misogyny, as well as harmful content. So one of the many examples is a famous YouTuber receiving backlash after making disparaging comments about a female celebrity. So this did not go down well, with many social media users accusing him of misogyny. So some mainstream media platforms have not escaped similar backlash as well. So this follows the weekly screening of a reality show depicting what many viewers say is pure domestic abuse and violence, presented as some form of entertainment. So what does all of this tell us about, I guess, the society, that we live in? What about the funders or the brands that back this kind of content? And are they complicit in amplifying misogyny in the media and online as well? So let's talk a bit about this now with the social media commentator, Disetso Todesi. Disetso, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate it. It's been a hectic couple of days on social media, and who has not been bullied on social media? I don't think I like social media much. I think I just participate because it's part of my SOP. I have to work on there, but I stay away when I'm not working. But what does it come down to? What are we seeing now?
I think we are seeing a mix of socio-economic issues propagating and meeting at a central point that is social media, and people using it as an outlet to treat totally different things. Now, I noticed you didn't mention the people by name, so I'm not going to. But if you look at all the people you mentioned and some of the people on social media, especially Twitter, there are two accounts that don't have an identity. You know who that is, right? If we're going to look at those people specifically as individuals, we are chasing a ghost. But if we then change that to looking at the market they're serving, right? Because if we actually drill down to the market they're serving and why they are looking for that poisonous or slash toxic slash chaotic content, then we begin to see that the problem is with society. Remember, Griselda, supply follows demand. Demand doesn't follow supply. These guys are just suppliers to what is inherently a demand brought through by what I think is an internal brokenness of some sort that leads people to want to consume that. You know what I mean? Because if you actually look at it, not that I want to go long on this, right? The people, the society in general that is watching these things are general people such as myself and you, right? And it points out to the core that in our core, in our inner selves, we have what I like to call a danger box guy syndrome, where me and my friends will sit in front of next to the danger box in the township and discuss all sorts of chaos that's happening in other people's lives, so that we don't have to think about the chaos in ours. So that we don't have to think about our own chaoses, right? It also happens in hair salons. So this propagates. They're not in hair salons anymore. They're not at the danger box anymore. Where are they? They are on social media. They're on Twitter. And that is the inherent problem here. It's that there is a market that's looking for this stuff. Say we get rid of one of them, the guy, the YouTuber, right? That shall not be named. Say we get rid of him. I promise you, in a week or two, there will be another one.
True.
Why?
Because there's a market for it.
Boom. So if we're to solve this problem, let's actually look at the people that are looking for this type of content.
But how do we deal with this then? Because going after the people who are consuming this kind of content, where do, I guess, broadcasters, people who allow this kind of content on these platforms, what responsibility should they be taking for what we're seeing?
So say we say something that is offhand here, right? There is the BCCSA that's probably going to have your job, right?
I see where you're going.
On social media, there's nobody doing that. You report something, people help you unreport it, right? So the platforms themselves do not do enough to make sure that poison doesn't get propagated.
Yeah.
Right, number one. Number two, the individuals in these, the individuals that we're talking about have such a strong following that even if you do report, they'll reverse report that to get it released. Right, so I think on three levels. Number one, on household level. Right? Can we actually fix things in the household? Right? Can we fix things in the household first? Can we teach people what actually does hurt people?
Yeah.
Right? And then we move it to the platforms themselves.
Yeah.
Platforms need to...
I mean, so I'm sorry to say, so some of the stuff that is said on there is so vile. You know, I think every day I am just gobsmacked, you know, by some of the things that are said, insensitivities. It almost seems that people are numb.
And that is what happens when, number one, you have a society that has people in it that have certain brokennesses and are not managed. This is why so things like the BCCSA need to be extended to things like social media.
Yeah.
They need to be extended to things like YouTube.
So it's not, I saw a lot of the conversation about, in the wake of, you know, what happened with the YouTuber. You calls for regulation, the fact that you can't just have, you know, certain platforms, you know, not being held accountable by anyone. And then there's the question also of freedom of speech. Part of what the defense was in that was that this is uncensored, nobody tells certain individuals what to do, this is raw, this is uncensored, this is what we want to see. So, however, that also comes with a certain level of responsibility.
Boom. Yes. So imagine what chaos would happen in the world if absolutely everybody was uncensored. You're uncensored at your job in the SABC. I'm uncensored at my job where I work. Can you imagine how much chaos I would cause? Can you imagine how much chaos taxi drivers are uncensored at their work, right? They are uncensored. The frustration that they cause on the road, it's nuts. Imagine if the police were uncensored or unregulated, because those two are parallel words that are used to do the same thing. Imagine if everybody was uncensored, what chaos would there be in the world? Yes, there's an appetite for freedom of speech. Yes, there's an appetite for being uncensored and being raw. But what is in you? First, can we look at what is in you before we put you on a platform because you're raw? Can we look at what is in you? Otherwise, we'll just take just about anyone, put them on a platform, have them spew all sorts of dirt.
Whatever. Yes.
Dirt.
Yes.
And kids watch it. People with disabilities watch it.
What kind of society are we then building? Because the consumers of that content has become more and more freely accessible. You may subscribe to a certain page, but once it is downloaded by somebody else and placed on another platform, anyone can access it. Exactly.
How did we get there, though? How did we get there? We got there because the mountain wasn't moved when it was small. If you wait for a mountain to get big, we get here, where if a video of mine, for example, there's a video of mine that's trending, that's not even on my platform.
There you go.
Right? It propagates like that. So you fix it while it's still small. And the bigger the chunk, the more problematic it is to fix. So
what do we do? What can be done then to deal with what seems to be a festering sore?
That's a tough
policy, but then there'll be backlash about the fact that perhaps you're trying to,
censor.
You're trying to censor. You don't want people to speak their mind. But I wish I could speak my mind. Can't speak my mind.
We can't even say their names.
Have to be measured and respectful, I guess, in the manner in which I engage.
I mean, we're sitting here across each other. We can't even say their names because there are regulations and policies that guide how you are to do this that you are doing right now. And that should be applied to just about everybody. It is really unfair that that lady that was insulted should be sitting at home and hear what she heard about herself in something that has maybe very little to do with the person that said it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we fixing policy is one thing, we need to fix the household. We need to fix the education. We are taught about all sorts of things in school, except how to behave most of the time, right? We are taught all sorts of things in school, except how to treat people.
Yeah.
Right? We are taught also, can we please get to a point where we recognize people as human beings? Can I please see you as a human being? Right? If we're
I think that's what it boils down to ultimately, you know, at the end of the day. You've got to look at the next person next to you and see them as a human being and think before you say something that could be very... think about how something lands on someone else before you say it, I guess.
Exactly.
We've got to learn that every day.
So there's this focus now on being radical. Why?
Yeah.
Because being radical brings the traffic.
Right. It brings the viewers.
Yes.
It brings, yes.
Yes. Now something else happens there. I say something, you complain. Your viewers see your complaint, they go and watch that thing. It's given traffic.
It gains more, in fact.
Exponentially.
I actually think I saw that on social media the other day, that the following had actually grown because everyone is talking about this. Does that not actually just fuel?
It's rewarding bad
more
behavior.
Yeah.
It's rewarding it.
But it's, I guess it speaks then to the kind of society that we are, as you're saying, which is very, very unfortunate. You know, I guess without, policy you spoke about, the household is key. I guess if one is able to just look at how, or mark what they say when you're speaking to another human being. Do you want to come in there, Tisetso?
Yes. And also accountability amongst friend groups. In the trending / infamous video that is subject here, when the gentleman said what he said, the co-host froze for a second.
Yeah.
And it was as if he was thinking, so there was a little bit of a silence there on some, man,
yes,
you just messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm interested to hear the conversations that happened post that. You know what I mean? If I am to say something right now that is offhand, when we get to that door over there, what are you saying to me? What are you? So it's also in the conversations amongst friends, in the conversations amongst colleagues, that hey, how you treated this situation and what you said there,
you could have done better.
Yes, you could have done better, and not only would you have caused yourself backlash, you probably would have caused me backlash, just in the same way that the other gentleman who works for a radio station received backlash in the same video, right? So we also need that type of accountability amongst friends, amongst colleagues, amongst people that work together. That's a very important thing. Yeah,
I think I recall the other day just telling a friend of mine to remove a post. Sometimes, you know, when you're overwhelmed with whatever it is that you're going through, you just act irrationally. So I recall telling a friend just to say, remove that, I don't think you're fine at the moment.
And again, early detection, right? There's also social media does not forget.
But true, it stays there.
It does not forget. So even if you take it down in less than 5 minutes, somebody's already saved it.
Yes.
It's already propagated. It's already all over the show.
That's
but call-out culture is really important. I don't believe in cancel culture.
But call-out culture.
As soon as you cancel the guy, because there's a market,
somebody else is going to be doing it.
But call-out culture is important.
To rectify, I guess, what we see is wrong. So I'm afraid we've run out of time. Thank you so much. We do appreciate your time. That was social media commentator Tisetso Totetse speaking to us about some of very interesting trends that we saw over the past couple of days. You'd know, of course, this involving a famous YouTuber and some remarks that were made against a celebrity and female celebrity. And of course, opening up the conversation wider to what the possible causes of such behavior would be.